My name is Jackson Blatner. I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist. I sometimes like people to call me DJ. So if you liked the beats that you heard on the way in, you like to say my initials, you can call me DJ. I will just start and be clear, okay? Mindful eating was not something I ever cared about, ever, until, I don't know, probably 8 years ago. I was at Whole Foods, got one of their containers, and it was quickly eating between meetings, and I was about 75% done. Looked at my fork, and instead of the 5 prongs of the fork that I began with, I had 4. So somewhere along the way of eating, I ate one of the plastic fork prongs, okay? And that moment was a turning point in my life. I was like, Dawn, or DJ, you ate so fast and so mindlessly, you ate a prong of your plastic fork. Somebody should do an intervention, And so I began studying, I enjoyed the role on that. That was excellent. Thanks. Ryan, that's Ryan. Ryan B. So nonetheless, I knew at that point I needed an intervention, okay? And so I had heard of mindful eating, but here was my thoughts about mindful eating. Boring people do it. Zen people do it. And it felt like punishment. Hey, how are you? And it felt like major punishment to have to eat slow. That's all I thought mindful eating was like slow. So I started reading research about mindful eating to get myself more into it, and it turns out the stuff is pretty magical. And so what we're going to do today is some of you are in luck and have a worksheet. Some of you can take a picture of that worksheet and bring it home and recreate it for yourselves at home. Or you could share if you have a buddy in here, however you want to do it. But what we're supposed to do today, by my direction, is fill this out together. And the reason why I'm doing that is because when I started doing workshops on mindful eating like 8 years ago when I was getting into this, I used to just give you a handout that was already pre-printed and just tell you what it was, shove it down your throat, and make you leave. That's what I would do. I knew all the answers, I gave the handout, and that was the thing. That's no good. You are adults, I'm an adult. I like to do adult learning where I'm actually part of the active process of making definitions for myself, coming up with benefits for myself, directing this myself. So that is what we're going to do today, is I'm going to lead you in mindful eating science and mindful eating practice, but you are going to collectively sort of decide what you like the best for the definition. You're going to decide what you like as the driving benefit so that you want to actually engage and do this and practice it in your own lives. And we're going to talk very much about all this, but the fun part is that later you are going to get to actively practice this because we're going to have a DIY trail mix bar, sponsored by Now, where you're going to put together a little trail mix, and then we're going to go into the back at a table with a plate and a chair and practice together what mindful eating actually feels like, okay? It's going to be very fun, and #awkward. I'll just point out when we're doing it together, it is weird, and it's cool because at the end of the day, you're going to be able to take that practice home and what you learned, okay? So the first thing that I would like to do is give you an opportunity to meet your neighbor. So you already know DJ is in the house, but meet your neighbor if you don't already know, and come up with a quick mindful eating definition. I'm going to go first. My definition is twofold. One, I just decided in my own head, it's kind of like just how about mindful living? How about I just take the word eating off and it's just mindful? Be here now. Be here now. Be here now. I really like that because it's easy. I can remember it. I get what it means. It's like my mind and body are here. Be here now. I also love it because has anybody ever ruminated about anything? Like just keep going on and on and on about something in your head? Yeah. Okay. That is what's called past, living in the past. If ever you have yourself ruminating about something, basically thinking about it over and over and over again, that is, you're too much in the past. You're not be here now, okay? And so the opposite is living in the future. Anybody have an idea of what that emotion is if you're too much living in the future or that feeling? Yeah, anxiety. If you've ever felt anxiety or worry, anybody? I'm probably the only one. But like I am anxious and worried about stuff. Like how am I going to do on this presentation? You know, how am I going to do on this TV segment? How am I going to do whatever? You know, that I say, oh, Dawn, you're future tripping. You're living too much in the future. Be here now, right? And sometimes physical tapping grounds you. So it's like, be here now. Okay, cool. You could do it even quietly, like no one has to know. So I really like the idea of be here now because it means I don't have to ruminate about things and I don't have to worry or be anxious about things. I could just be here. And so you just tack on the word eating to that, and there you go. It's like, I'm here now, eating, right? I like that. It's simple. As years have gone on, I've progressed to a different definition to build on that. And that's what I hope the mindful eating is to you. It's something that is a dynamic, fluid word, concept, practice that you kind of build on as you become a different person. And so for me now, mindful eating is food boss. I love the idea of food boss as being mindful eating for me. And what that means to me is the food is no longer in control of me. I am not a victim to Ben or Jerry, right? I am not, you know who that is? Those are ice cream people. Yeah, because I was like, no one's laughing. This is hilarious. I'm like, maybe every time I tell a joke, I'll be like, that was funny. Anyway, so I don't have to be a victim to food. I don't have to feel shame or guilt about eating. I don't have to feel that stuff because I am the boss of it. I am in charge. Food boss. So mindful to me is like not only like what I used to think is like chew a lot. You know what I mean? Now it's actually a whole system empowerment food boss. So like mine is a combination definition of be here now, you're the food boss. That's how I've sort of built it over years. Any of those things you enjoy, you can add to your definition. But let's go around quick and just say what you feel like other buzzwords or definitions you have.
Yeah. Literally, I came in here not knowing what mindful eating was.
Yes.
I just learned.
I love it.
I had no idea.
I love this. Oh my gosh, she should be a testimonial. I came into her session not knowing at all what mindful eating is, and after, I feel like I know how to define it for everyone. Fabulous. Yeah, you could just be, it doesn't have to be every single person, it could just be somebody in the group can throw out what you guys are talking about.
Well, we talked about like being present while you're eating.
Yeah, I love that, being present. And I feel like picking the words matter, right? And so like, does present resonate with you? Does like be here now resonate with you? People use the word balance and purposeful, intentionality. Like there's lots of different words that can resonate with you about this definition. I love that. Any other things come up with definitions?
Well, not multitasking.
Oh, yeah.
Eating and doing 7 other things.
Yeah, I love that. Single tasking is actually, reminds me of one of the benefits we're going to talk about. This idea of mindful eating accidentally goes everywhere in your life. You practice mindful eating, you are a more mindful communicator. You're more mindful as a wife, as a daughter, as a business person. It just goes everywhere. And so that idea of single tasking, it's a very joy-filled thing. Multitasking makes people very anxious, less focused, and less productive. Even though everyone thinks multitasking is the way to go for everything. Single tasking is actually how things get done. I mean, it's how the assembly line and like Ford started. It's like do one thing over and over and you can get it done faster, better. That's the whole concept of basically America. So God bless America is all I'm saying. But I love single tasking because it's important in mindful eating and it will explode everywhere in your life if you practice this. Yeah. Any other definitions in this group of like things that you guys were talking about that were interesting?
I feel like we kind of went with like listening to your body, like stop
Oh.
eating when you're full, and like
Love it.
don't have the whole bag of chips in front of you. Just take like a serving.
Yep, that is actually very insightful in two ways. One, not having a whole bag of chips in front of you, that's an environmental part of the definition, is basically control your environment to help you be more mindful. And so like that might be, you know, we'll talk later about like a table and a plate and a chair instead of like a package. And so controlling your environment to help you with mindful eating, absolutely. And then the other thing you said was cool, because it's body cues, like listening to your body. A lot of people like mindful eating because they feel like it helps them be in better tune with their hunger and fullness cues. I like it, as I told you, for the confidence and empowerment, the food boss thing. But that is kind of like one part of it. It's like I'm in charge of this. Like I'm the mother of every cell of my body. I'm in charge of taking care of it. And so it helps me listen better, you know? It's cool, very cool. Anything else from these groups? How about over here?
You lost nose goes.
I lost nose goes. Well, I'm gonna steal what you said then, but Hannah brought up a good point of like when you eat dinner with your husband, there's no cell phones allowed, and I think just like that goes to the idea of being present.
Love it. Yes, environmental factors matter, you know? And it's like, I thought you were going to yell at your husband for eating so fast that it influences you. Because that's someone I was like, you're eating so fast, it's hurting my feelings. Yeah.
I feel like I've been like starved my whole life.
Yep. Well, we'll talk, we're going to talk, that's very good. But I love the idea of just controlling your environment. And that can mean people in it, could mean distractions. Cell phones, I think, is a beautiful one. I just did an interview about like, what are you working on for your wellness this year or whatever. And it is, I don't do phones at the table, but it's not a phone when I wake up. Trying to keep my phone in airplane mode so nothing is updated. So I wake up and there's no need to look at it. Anyway, I digress. Very nice, very nice. What else in terms of definition?
Eat when you're hungry and sound painful, and don't just because things are in front of you, like, oh, this cake is delicious, and you just have the whole thing. Later on, you're gonna have it, and now you feel upset.
Yep, absolutely. So this is kind of the hunger and fullness stuff, you know, being in charge of it. So here's the difference, and we'll talk a bit about this in a minute too. But the difference is, mindful eating is, you can still eat a whole cake, it doesn't matter. You can still eat a whole bag of chips. You're just mindfully doing it, so there is no shame or guilt later. You're saying, this is a delicious cake. I feel full from this cake. It's good. I'm going to make the active decision to keep doing this. I am mindfully deciding. It's not, oh my God, how did I eat this whole cake? I'm a victim to it. I feel horrible. It's like, no, I'm the boss of this. I ate the whole cake. Boom. You know what I mean? Own it, own it, own it. Mindful eating is ownership, empowerment, absolutely. So from all of that, if you could come up with a definition that you believe, that resonates with you, and like I said, make it fluid and dynamic and change it as you go. But if anything I've said or other people said that resonates with a quick definition that you like, keep that in your notes. Let's talk about benefits really quick. Benefits for me is, it's your why, right? So like if we're going to go through all this trouble of an hour of practicing this, shouldn't you care about what you're going to get from it? You know what I mean? Like, why do it? So benefits are crazy researched right now. Like you can go and type in mindful eating and you can get in PubMed all this research. And this is how I started actually really engaging with this concept, because for a while it was like too like woo-woo, like I told you. It's like kind of boring, kind of zen. I was like, I'm not into it. And then when you eat a fork, then you're like, okay, maybe I'll start listening. Okay. So let me just give you some actual research stats of some benefits that may intrigue you. Anything that intrigues you can add it to your sheet, or you can just add them all, and we'll circle the most important one to you later. Okay. So research by mindfulness, what it does. Decreasing binge eating and emotional eating. I don't know if you've ever done binge eating or emotional eating. Hi, welcome to my 20s and 30s, basically. And I don't know if I did anything besides that. So it's like, okay, decrease binge eating and emotional eating. That's a benefit. Second one, from a Journal of Crohn's and Colitis. These are like very incredibly intense, digestive issues, right? Reduce symptoms of people with high digestive problems and low, just like bloating also. So if you've ever had any bloating in your life, mindful eating helps with that. Decrease eating to cravings. So basically this Journal of Behavior Medicine found that people were less likely to give in to cravings when they were doing more mindful eating. They were like, do I really want this? Yes, I'm going to eat it. Or, do I really want this? No. And so they were able to better eat less in response to craving. So again, not a victim, but empowered. It blows everywhere. If you practice it, it goes everywhere. Journal of Social and Behavior Science found that overall mental well-being, how you feel, overall mental well-being, the hottest topic ever around. Yeah, mindful eating helps with that. Very cool. A couple other ones that I think are really extra cool. This is probably the hottest topic right now. So this one was 2014 Journal of American Nutrition and Dietetics. It helps people ditch unhealthy weight control behaviors. Anybody ever know anyone who did crazy diets? Yeah, mindful eating can help people ditch those, okay? It improves their satisfaction with their bodies. I'm not sure anybody wakes up thinking, I wish I was more dissatisfied with my body today, right? Everybody is like, you wake up and you're like, I wish I was like more satisfied with my body. No matter what your body looks like, mindful eating in the research, not just in like hubbub dreamland, but like research, helps people increase their satisfaction with their body. And then finally in this study is reduce emotional distress about weight. So if you've ever, again, ruminated or been paranoid or freaking out about weight, even though, bash the scale is a thing, right? We are still like living in a diet culture where that is, no matter how hard you work, it's somewhere that you're always working on, like not caring, right? Lizzo empowerment, you know what I mean? And it's like, the deal is that mindful eating can be a tool for that. And then the final one, which I think is pretty cool also, these are all like really good feeling things. People who do mindful eating have better blood sugar control, better blood pressure, and better cholesterol. What? So it's like it's affecting cells in your body. Not only just like mindset and feeling good, but it's like literally affecting your cells. So if any of those benefits resonated with you, or you were writing them all down, starting to think about circling one on your paper that's going to be sort of your North Star. The thing that's going to make you want to carry through and practice mindful eating for real. Like, they're all cool, but like, which is the coolest for you, Any benefits that I didn't mention from research that you like I said one, like, I feel more confident. So for me, one of my big one that I circle is like, I just love to feel confident about my food decisions and not feel bad. I love that feeling. Mindful eating helps me with that. Any other benefits? Yeah.
I guess it's similar to the digestion that you're talking about, but I've had a couple of friends that have gone to the doctor because of bloating, and the doctor's been like, please chew your food.
Yep.
Like, try consciously chewing your food, and like, let me know if you're still having the same issue, and then it's like resolved. It's literally like people just, like, you feel like you're so busy and don't have the time, and you're shoveling in the food, so you're not chewing it and digesting it and registering that you're full,
Yep.
and then bam,
Yep.
bloat.
Your saliva is not water. Your saliva has enzymes in it. The beginning of the digestive process is chewing. Bloating is undigested food particles, because you didn't chew, that bacteria in your gut are eating. So, because where does the bloating come from? The bloating comes from bacteria eating undigested food, and their byproduct when they're eating your food that you didn't chew is gas. So that's what bloating is. And so that's why, yes, when people are like, how much did I just pay you? So people will ask me, I just paid you how much money to tell me to chew my food? And I'm like, dude, you paid me that, it will change your life. That's all I have to say. Chew your food. And so, yes, that was hundreds of dollars. So there you go. Who's the lucky one here? Yeah, we both are. You just got an award-winning tip. Hello. So I thank you for emphasizing that. I think that's exactly right. Any other benefits that interest anybody about this? Or something that they had hoped, they had read about mindful eating or thought about mindful eating that they wish is a benefit? Anything else? In my empowerment thing is really like just, somebody said in the last session, I really like the word freedom. It's like the freedom of giving so many F's about food. You know what I mean? It's like how to give 0 F's after you eat. You got to care ahead of time, but not obsess, right? I'm very much on you don't have to obsess about food, you should care. Right? But then have the freedom to enjoy it and eat it and move on. Like, stop with the ruminating, crazy, shame, guilt garbage, And this is what emotional eating feels like, right? And that's what mindful eating can help shift, So benefits, circle one that means something to you. And then let's just quickly go through some obstacles, because here's my personal frustration as I've practiced this, is I understand what it is. I understand the benefit of it, and I could not do it. I was like, ah. And so when you dissect, both my clients and me, like, what is getting in the way of mindful eating? What comes to mind is something right away that okay, this is why I don't mindfully eat right now. Time. What'd you say?
Free food.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Environmental stuff that just happens to you, right? So that, like, you can shift it, but still that it gets in your way. I think time is a big one. Being a jerk of your own calendar. Being a calendar jerk, right? You didn't have enough breathing room or space in your calendar, so you're rushing around like a crazy person. And so that's absolutely rushing, time. It all boils down to a jerk of your calendar, okay? What else gets in the way of mindful eating?
Probably old habits.
Oh, I love that one. I learned that really in the last session because it's like, I kind of sort of factor that into other things. It's its own thing. You're a habitual creature. How many things do you do on autopilot? Everything. It's like sometimes your car just knows where it's going and you forgot how to even, you got there. Like it's just, we are such creatures of ritual and habit. And some of that is so beautiful and some of it is so bad for us, right? You know, so it's like, yeah, wake up, be here now, like get out of autopilot. Good one. What else? What other ones could get in your way? Oh, yes, I love that. That's just about everything, right? We talked about this in the other session too, is like somebody was like, how am I going to eat, you know, so mindfully in my cafeteria with all the kids to the teacher maybe. All these kids are around and all this stuff is happening, and I said, what's your idea? And she's like, well, I'm going to go and say, I'm not going to be a lunchroom monitor anymore and get out of there. And it's like, you can't know. It's not, you don't have to go crazy, right? It's like, it feels overwhelming to take where you are right now and all of a sudden be this mindful eater. It's like, no, we're just asking, could you be 5% more mindful? Like, it doesn't have to be so dramatic, and that helps that idea of like, oh God, this seems overwhelming and I'm lazy, you know, about it. It's just like, oh, we're just saying, be a little more mindful, you know what I mean? And if you did that every month, you were just 5% more mindful, you know, holy, you know, think about how fast that would help, you know. So that's a good one. What else will get in your way? The auto.
You're like really hungry to eat.
Yes, that's on my, is a big one, is biology. Hungry people do dumb stuff. True or false? I mean, hangry. People who are hungry say bad stuff, they act bad, they do bad. It's like, it's the worst. So it's like, can you get your human biology on your side by eating regular meals? So if you go too long without eating, mindful eating is nearly impossible because of hormones of your human survival. We're mammals. This happens. So no matter how much you think, oh, I need to be mindful, yeah, you got to eat on schedule in order for mindful eating to really work. Any other ones? Because I have a huge one. Was my biggest barrier ever. Go. Thank you. The floor is yours. Thank you. All right. So all of those are all true. And then there was a secret one hiding inside of me. And clients. When I say me, it's also, my clients are very similar to me. So anyway, here's what it is. I use the word mindful to secretly be a synonym for diet. I secretly was like, I'm going to be a mindful eater because I'm going to use this as like my new diet. But of course I'm not going to tell anyone I'm dieting because that's very 1990. You don't ever say anymore anyone's trying to diet. We all know that's ridiculous, stupid, horrible. So you don't do that. So what you do is you call it something else. You say, I'm going to become a mindful eater. And then you're like, okay, I'm a mindful eater. This isn't dieting. Secretly, in my heart, it was dieting. And guess why mindful eating never worked? Because dieting never works. Why doesn't it work? Because I was in a restriction, lack, deprivation mindset every time I would try and eat slow, and it would backfire because when you're restricted, you have to binge. It's the restriction, binge cycle. So in order for mindful eating to work, you cannot think this is a diet because it will blow up in your face. I can personally attest to it. You've got to do mindful eating because it makes you feel good, right? So whether it's confidence or bloating or anything, you're just doing it because in that moment, you feel good, right? And if you have that proper intention, you actually can do mindful eating. So that was a sneaky little one that got me, yeah.
I feel like that I have the same sentiment towards intuitive eating. And I'm just like, why can't we just eat?
Yeah.
Like, why does everything have like a name?
Yep.
So like if once it has a title, I feel like underneath it, it's just diet.
It's the truth. It's the truth. And I feel like the more you can be just open and honest with yourself, right? Of be like, okay, I think that I'm just pulling a fast one on myself here. And you're like, I think I'm just as a synonym for diet, and then correct it, right? Course correct. So I have course corrected and help other people course correct that this is not supposed to be another diet that fails you. It's supposed to be a way to have more happiness and joy, and for me, confidence, right, in what I'm doing. So if you could circle the, everybody's going to have a different balance of what you think the obstacle is that's going to get in your way the most, but just, it's always good to like know the obstacles, circle the one that you think is going to come at you, because what I say is, if you have your enemies coming up from behind you, you can't do anything. But if you know what's going to come at you, you have a better chance of getting after it, you know? And so that's why I like to really explore some obstacles for this, because you'll have a better chance of doing mindful eating if you already know what is going to possibly sabotage you. So how are you feeling about that first section? Pretty good?
Great.
Okay. Time check. Let's think about this. 1:30 to 2:30, right? Okay, we're good. We're golden. This is what I told you. This group is gonna be the best because I know what's happening. Okay. So there we go. So we have all this done. What I'd love to do is I'd love to do the before section right now with you before we get to the table. And then we'll work on the during and after sections later. Because a lot of times people feel like mindful eating is chewing and stuff you do at the table. But there's a lot of heavy lifting or stuff that you do before you get there. And so what I would like to describe for you is sort of like what you do before you eat. And it doesn't have to be dramatic. This doesn't have to be something announced to everybody you're with. But it's like, here's really what's happening, okay? Before you eat, every one of us is in fight or flight system. And there's varying degrees. Some days you're super fight or flight, like crazy stressed out. Some days you're a little bit less. But that part of our operating system is literally the worst possible place you could be to eat. A flight or fight situation is literally why people like eat so fast and it's so crazy, is because their system is wrong. Their biology is not allowing them to mindfully eat. So does anybody know how to get out of fight or flight into the different system? This is the parasympathetic system. This is the rest and digest system, appropriately named. So you're trying to get out of fight or flight into rest and digest system. How would you do that? What would be a simple way that you could do that before you eat? What?
Take a deep breath.
Breathe. Good old oxygen will help you literally change and shift the system. So that's really the first thing, even though it seems ridiculously simple, and I, usually personally when I read articles like this, I roll my eyes, I'm like, oh my God. Once I understood why the breathing is important, that the science is fight or flight to rest and digest system, clicked for me, and I was like, oh, now I'll do this. Before I was fighting it because I'm like, I am not a Sun Buddha. I am not doing this before I eat. But anyway, you can tell I'm a contrarian. I fight everything. But anyways, once science has told me that's why I'm doing it, I'm into it. So breathing. I like very much the 4-7-8 style of breathing, where you're breathing in for 4, hold for 7, out for 8. And the reason why I love that is because it sounds very much like a baby's breathing when they're sleeping, which is the most peaceful thing you've ever seen, right? So if you actually listen to the same, that beat is very similar. It's a 4. Yeah. Oh God. Good night. It's really like one breath. I tell you, it's amazing. That thing is really going to be in every presentation. It doesn't belong to me, but maybe it will after today. Don't listen to that if anybody's listening. So that is how you could breathe, is the 4-7-8. Or how about anyway? Who cares if you do it right? Breathe in for 3, hold for 3, out for 3. Breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. I don't care. You don't have to do anything dramatic, like be at the table and be alternate nostril breathing. We don't have to be goop right now. Whatever you need to do to shift the system. And you know when that shift happens. It happens within 1, sometimes maybe 3 breaths, but it happens fast. After you do breathing, the other thing that and some people need to do, I told you this trick before, be here now. Some people need to physically tap because there's so much activity around them. Just under the table, be here now. A little breathing. Okay, cool. Now we're there. And for me, that's under body, getting your body into the moment. Mindset for all of this, like the idea of getting your mind right, this is what I think is very beautiful. I have a lot of clients and myself would struggle between, should I eat because I want to be healthy right now, or should I eat, forget it, I just want to eat something I like. And constantly the battle of internal, and it's because you have 2 people inside of you. If you didn't know, you don't have to run to any physician right now. I'm just telling you, this is the truth. 2 people inside. Oh, you actually have 3. Okay, there you go.
No, I have two in here.
You have 4. She has 4 people inside of her. 2 baby embryo adults, going to be adults, and 2 other people. This This is more confusing than I had thought, but I like it. I like it. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming and throwing us a loop, or whatever.
Thank you for coming to my baby shower.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the two people inside of you. You know what we mean, okay? You know what we mean. You have a wild child and you have a health nut, okay? And why people have an internal struggle is because they're only listening to one or the other, okay? They're not making friends with the two people. So health nut, if you only listen to the health nut, you try and only eat healthy at a meal, okay? You feel deprived, you feel restricted, and it will backfire. If you only listen to the wild child and you try and hush health nut, I'm trying to be out with my friends and have a good time. Shut up, I'm trying to be wild child. You only listen to her, you feel guilt and shame. It's just how it works. There has to be both. You have to have both of them acknowledged before you eat. Some days you're going to lean a little heavier to health nut or wild child, but they both have to be acknowledged before you eat. And so once you breathe and get into the physical space of feeling balanced and empowered and charged, the next part of mindful eating is just to acknowledge that you are feeling balanced as the caretaker of the healthy cells of your body and as a human being with emotion and fun, So that's the mindset piece of this. The other mindset piece that is very similar, though, is you're an emotional being. You should have an emotion all the time. You should be pissed or happy, or you should be anxious or sad, or overwhelmed or bored. All of those things are great feelings. All we're saying for mindful eating is just to know what your feeling is before you eat. It's not like you have this feeling, and now I need you to be happy. Do whatever you can to be happy before you eat. I don't care. Eat pissed. I don't care. Eat happy. I don't care. The big thing is just you know what it is, right? So to get your body there, you breathe. To get your mind right, your wild child and health nut are balanced, and you sort of have this I'm pissed or I'm happy. You just kind of quickly acknowledge what your emotion is, okay? Because ideally, you're not supposed to change it. You can have feelings. You just have to know what they are before you eat. And then the last thing is space or environment, right? And this is where I have the table plate chair, not couch TV, table plate chair, not, what would be another one? A standing fridge. Standing in the fridge, I don't know if you've ever done that, I'm sure not. But standing in the fridge. Or this is not desk computer, this is table plate chair. Not having all those other things, right? And then the final little step of, for me, a space or your environment is to just look at, would I be okay with presenting this to another person? Or did I just make an avocado toast that looked so ugly on a paper towel for myself that I would never give this to somebody else?
I feel personally victimized.
Thank you. And that's when I had an aha moment. I looked at my avocado toast one day that I had a knife that was slipped and it was on a quarter, the paper towels that selected size, it was on a little selected size one. And I was like, how is this showing me respect when I'm going to eat this garbage I wouldn't even show somebody else? What?
Yeah, very respectful. You have no dishes to do.
Yeah, but maybe a clean paper towel at least, But the idea is do a one last check to just double check, would I feed this to somebody else? I want to respect myself as I would feed somebody else. And it doesn't have to be the most glamorous, Instagrammable picture of the world, but just show yourself a little RESPECT. For those of you who are not quick spellers, that's respect. Nonetheless, that is the before for me, for the practice of me teaching you what before looks like. So the breathing, the mindset of both wild child and health nut, and also identifying your emotion and getting your environment so that it's table plate chair, not a ton of distraction, as we've talked about. And that's where the work is. A lot of it beforehand. If you do that beforehand, then you don't have to worry so much later, right? What usually people do is no thinking beforehand, shove stuff in, and then do all the thinking after they eat, which is beat themselves up. So if you do this pre-work, which doesn't take a lot once you practice, you got a lot less drama later, Hashtag no drama. Okay, let's go DIY a trail mix. And so all you're gonna do is take the cup. A couple of things in the cup, doesn't have to be the most luxurious trail mix you've ever made in your life. We just need a few things in there so that we can practice mindful eating together. Are you ready? Yes. Okay, thank you. That's it. All right, we've got business to do, people. Mindful eating. All right, I gotta compose myself because I'm pretty much tearing up. Okay, we gotta do during, okay? So during is two things. 5 senses you need to use when you're mindful eating. What are the 5 senses?
Sight,
Welcome to my 3rd grade classroom. What are the senses, children? Okay. Sight, smell, sound, taste, touch. Very good. Slow clap. Good work. All right, now, how you actually activate that. So here's how I do it. And let's actually do it all together. Breathing so that you're here, right? Be here now. We've done it. Be here now, like a little bit, okay? What you're feeling, that sucks. It's scary. It's part of life, but it sucks, okay? Whatever else you're feeling. How did I like my trail mix? Do I feel like it's a good wild child health nut mix? Am I doing this, to enjoy my food? Yeah, okay, you're mindful. Does it look pretty? Look sad? Oh, fix it.
There's not enough color. It needs like M&Ms.
Oh, there you go. Very good. I don't mind it. I think it's a good attitude. And you know what you should do if you were really in a home situation where you could, pop a couple of those in there, right? So that's actually part of this. So even though one might have thought that was a distracting comment, I thought it was fabulous. I'm not kidding. Because it really shows you that's what mindful eating is. I actually do that with my own stuff. Is I'll look at avocado toast and be like, that doesn't look like appetizing enough. Like it doesn't look fun enough. It's like, what could I do? It's like, well, maybe I'll have part of an apple with some peanut butter on it. Okay, this will be my breakfast now. Or whatever. So it's like, that actually is a huge part of it. So thank you for that. So that's the first part, like all that heavy stuff. Like how does it look? Wild child health nut. And now you're here. So the senses come in. So pick up one thing out of your cup that you want. So now you've looked at it. Now touch it. Like really look at it, touch it, smell it. Right? So those are the first 3. Look, touch, smell. I like that. And then when you feel ready after the look and the touching and the feeling, put it in your mouth 15 times. Chewing it is research-based. 15 times is healthiest people chew things 15 times. If you can't quite get 15, at least till it's applesauce texture in your mouth. Listen to it. This is the hearing part also. Is like, what does it sound like? So you looked at it. You touched it. You smelled it. You're chewing it. Chewing it, 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 chewing it. That's 15. Or until it's applesauce. And you've listened to it while you're chewing. And that is a mindful bite. All 5 senses have been involved. When you were at a job interview, probably don't pick things up and just like smell salad all day. But like, you know what I mean? Like when you're home and you can practice, it's like really like be involved. Remember this section of eating is called joy, right? We did intention setting in the first section. This is about joy. This is about really enjoying your food. For me, this is also, I've done all that work, and so now I can like relax and enjoy my food. I've decided I want to eat the cake. I've decided I want to eat the kale salad. Whatever it is, I made the decision, and now it's about joy. It's not about thinking about like, oh my God, should I be eating this? Should I not be eating this? Like, oh my God, oh my God. No, you did all that already. So this is joy. Another thing that you do, not only use and engage your 5 senses, but is also to do a body scan while you're eating. So 5 senses plus body scan is what you should have in the middle section of what to do during eating. A body scan is exactly what it sounds like. Is you're thinking about like, do I feel full? Do I like the taste of this? Did I push back from the table? Am I slowing down my tempo? Ooh, my tempo is too fast. Like you're doing all of these things to scan what your body is doing. You know, hand to mouth, super fast tempo, hold it. Chewing, am I not chewing enough? I have a light pressure in my stomach, maybe I'm full. I push back from the table a little, maybe I'm full. Some people say their nose runs when they're full. It's interesting, right? You don't know these things because no one pays attention to it, right? Does anybody have any body scans that they know, like anything that when they're eating is like sort of a tip off of something?
I don't personally, but I have a friend that always she always said her digestive system would go into overdrive, so she'd get really cold when she was full.
Somebody mentioned that in the last one too. I had really not heard that much, but it is interesting, is that maybe you're a more temperature sensitive person, and so the person who said it last time said they got really hot. Or all your blood goes to your stomach when you're digesting. And so it is true that some of your limbs might feel more cool. I mean, that's weird stuff. But that's your human body is very much that. I mean, it's yours to care for, yours to listen to. It has all sorts of these sort of cues that are coming. And so it's like, slowing down to listen to that stuff. And, I think it's really cool. So that's really all this joy is right here, is what we just practice, is using your 5 senses and really doing that body scan as you go. And I used to be afraid of knowing I was full, because then that meant I had to stop. Well, it doesn't mean you have to stop. You can say to yourself, okay, I feel full right now. I'm going to start eating this 3rd taco. Like, you can keep eating, you know what I mean? You don't have to use the information you get for anything but just scientific evidence and curiosity and information. You don't have to make it, again, it doesn't have to be a diet and restriction. It's just you knowing, like, oh, I've eaten 1 taco past fullness. Cool, no judgment. It's what I know. Or, as you're going through, if you're like, oh man, like I already feel like I overate. Ugh, who cares? I'm just going to keep going. No, that's a victim living. It's like, no, I'm going to pack this rest away. I don't have to keep going if I feel sick. Whatever it is, like that's part of this. And then after we have it like underneath there, reflection. And this is just all about thinking about what just happened. It's like, oh, that was an ugly thing I ate on a paper towel. Like, I'm going to correct that next time. Or like, wow, I inhaled that. Oh, probably because I went 7 hours since I ate last time. I'm going to really pay more attention to the clock. Or, wow, I was really upset. And look at that. I didn't realize when I'm so upset, like how little I eat or how much I eat. And so it's just, reflection is just a feedback loop to help you get better at this. And somebody in the last section asked a very interesting question and was like, what is the goal of mindful eating? What is the goal? What am I trying to get here? And the answer is, you're just trying to feel good. And feel good could be physical, feel good could be mental, feel good could be any of the benefits that we talked about. But that's the goal of mindful eating, is the whole point of it is to feel good, right? And it's like, yeah, we have all those little benefits that we identified, but the bigger picture is that I'm doing this, and the end game is like, feel good. You know what I mean? And so when you look at this page, so we have 5 minutes to go. You have all the befores, sort of what your mindset, how to get it ready, how to get your body ready, how to get your space ready. And then we just did a couple of examples. We can do another one together of eating another bite. But using your senses for real eating like that, using a body scan, do it. And then just make sure you have a feedback loop of like, what went right, what went wrong, what will I do different, whatever, in a no judgment mindset. Because then you made your decision, you ate it, you enjoyed it, and you're moving on. What kind of questions or even contrarian things? Like, like I said, the question that somebody asked was like, who cares? What is the point of this, What else? Any other things? Yeah.
I have a question. So
yeah.
We talked a little bit about like being present and being in the here and now, and I think, Hannah, you had the example, or someone shared the example of like, oh, we put our phones away and then we have a conversation with each other. So like if you're eating with another person, that's one way to like be mindfully eating but still be engaged. If you're eating alone, I understand totally you want to be in the moment, you want to be like focus on what you're doing and not having a million distractions and multitasking. Are there better and worse ways to quote unquote multitask if you're eating alone, so you're not just like staring at your food in like a soundless place?
Because thank you. Don't you think that's a great thing? Because really joy is that middle word, okay? And so somebody was like, what am I just supposed to, in the middle of this, just supposed to leave everybody and go eat in the closet by myself? And it's like, no. And I was talking very much, my favorite food guide pyramid that exists is from Brazil. And in their actual pyramid of how to teach people to eat in Brazil is eat with people, eat in community. And it's like, could you imagine if that was in our food guide pyramid? Like people would be like, what? But I mean, that's such a piece of like joy and love and eating. And so like eating with people is great. So you want to do that. But if you are alone, it's still supposed to be joy. And so what that usually means is, for me in reading research, not a TV, not a phone, not a computer, no working and interaction. But the best thing would be is background music. I was going to say noise, but background music that is tempos low, like not a very, like the stuff I was playing coming in, not that, okay? Not that. So if you want to DJ a proper eating experience for yourself, actually, shouldn't that be a business?
Yeah.
P.S. Like, let's put a pin in that and be like, okay, DJ your own eating experience.
You make a
Hello.
Spotify playlist.
Oh my gosh, I should. All right. I think so. 24 hours. 24 hours. Let's do it. Okay, I digress because I just had like this, entrepreneurial like brain thing happen. But the best is something like Pop Goes Classical. Have you ever like listened to that? It's like, it's pop music in a classical beat. Like those are pretty fun songs. Some people think it's like elevator music, you know, but like I prefer like the pop goes classical type of stuff. But so yeah, play around with that kind of DJ stuff. What else? Any other questions? Yeah.
What do you say to those people that have the clean plate club mindset?
Yes.
Like, and you know, you want to listen to your body, but your mother beat it into you that there are children that are starving in the world. You finish what's on your plate.
Yeah. And so one of that piece is autopilot, right? It's like habitual kind of thing. The other thing is it preemptive, putting less on the plate to begin with, right? But mine for real, so I don't, those things don't help me as much as the thing that I say is, yes, kids are starving. I'm going to go take $5 out of my wallet and give it to them, as opposed to thinking me eating more food is helping anybody, right? I mean, let's just be #truth. #truth hurts. So I like, hello. It's like, you know, is you can always save it, right? So I have the system of like, even if it's like a little tiny bit, I'll put it in a container, keep it in the fridge, and then 2 days later when I did not eat it, I will then throw it away. There's less of emotional tie and there's more distance, you know? So you can put any amount of food, even a bite, in the fridge for later. And sometimes that little bite is actually fabulous. Like we made cauliflower nachos the other day, and I mean, it was the tiniest thing. And he's like, just eat it. My husband, sorry to say, throw him under the bus. He's like, just eat it. You know, it's just this little thing. I was like, no. And then the next morning, I scrambled it up with an egg, and it was like better avocado toast than I've ever had, right? Because it's like, it had like a little nacho flair. Anyway, sometimes you might use your leftover that's a baby nugget, you know? What else? Any other questions? I could talk all day, but we have 60 seconds more. No pressure, yeah.
Well, knowing that this should be social, but a lot of people around you perhaps are not going to be eating at the pace that you are, how do you combat that?
Yeah, oh,
without
it
having
is.
to make an announcement that like,
Right.
this is what I'm doing. And
Yeah,
so.
it's the truth. Everyone needs to slow down. My husband and I have a conversation at dinner every night. I was like, could you please slow down? Your speed is impacting me. But what it really is it is practice. So like the idea of you having your own internal tempo, the more solid it is, the easier it is to be with super speed eaters. And you have your own internal sort of pacing. But it takes practice. I mean, just like at the gym, it's not like you go in there and you lift weights once and you're like, I'm amazing. I can lift everything. You know what I mean? Like you go and you practice and you practice and you practice, and all of a sudden you're a good runner. You can lift a lot of weight, and this is the very same thing. It's just you're practicing, and then you get good in very intense situations. For me, it's with friends in a restaurant with loud music, with a waiter coming over right away with decisions, and it's like a lot. And so it's like as you practice, you're like, I can be like in my own little bubble here, even though all of this is happening around me. And again, remember, mindful eating is a practice that then explodes into other things. So then all of a sudden you get more creative when you're doing work because you have your like own internal space, even though other things are cuckoo around you, you know? So that was amazing. That was mad knowledge. I hope that you have gotten some actionable things on practice mindful eating in your own life. And yeah, just do your best, right? You don't have to be perfect with this. Just it's incremental progress, not perfection.